was discussing with Jason last night was news, you have to fill a hole for news. So if you look at your stories seasonally, this may not be exactly what you're looking for, but if you look at the year, look at the calendar year, and think of each month and the kinds of stories that are run every month. Right now we're finishing back to school. October we get into harvest ideas. November we get into holiday, December holiday. January is usually resolutions, think healthy. February is confections and Valentine's. March is St. Patty's Day. Spring, if you look at the calendar, every news organization in the world has to fill copy or get stories or get film for these various things that happen throughout the year. So start thinking about your program and how you can break it down. And that will get, that's an automatic need of a news organization. So that might get you some attention.
Thank you. Does anyone else want to address that question?
I think too is insofar as you can frame things in terms of this is a trend that is going on, or this is something that is happening. It's sort of like regardless of what, it's almost like you could put your agenda on the side and just say, well, no matter who I'm talking to, they can't argue with this set of facts or this circumstance or this trend that's happening. And that can fit a number of whatever your goal is. If there is something that's going on that's a particular set of circumstances that it is obvious. I know that OPB a few years ago did a hunger series that that won an award that was because Oregon's hunger situation was deplorable. And so we went out and we found, okay, well, what's the legislation that's been going on? Who are the families that are affected? What's the situation with the Oregon Food Bank? And it was just one of those things that we were faced with a set of facts that made for great news stories. And it wasn't because we wanted to necessarily, say, well, we want to solve the hunger problem. That's not our job. We're a news organization. But this was a situation that people weren't necessarily aware of, that given our power as a media organization, they were able to make some kind of change or act in some way based on information that we were able to put into the form of a narrative, which is what we can do. And it was using information that came from public sources generally, but were being ignored. So it was that sort of, I think, the way that I see a media organization fitting into the broader concept of how you guys get your message across. It's sort of like put it into a form that we can make it a narrative that people will pay attention to.